Welcome to In the Trenches, where entrepreneurs, artists, writers, designers, inventors, warriors, and leaders share their stories of doing the hard, creative work that impacts all of our lives. Let the journey inspire you to do something worthwhile, build something bold, and create your life's work. And now, your host, Tom Morkis.
Welcome back, everyone, to another broadcast of In the Trenches. I'm really excited to have on today's show Mojca Mars. And please correct me if my pronunciation is way off. Mojca is from Slovenia, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
yes.
And how was my pronunciation?
It was good. Just the last name is actually Marsh.
Marsh.
It's like marshmallow. Okay. That's easy to remember.
Marshmallow. Yeah, that's way easier. Okay. Mojca Mars. Gosh, I'm going to keep getting it wrong. I'm going to keep practicing, though, throughout the rest of the interview.
Not a problem.
and Mojca is really special because, I mean, not only obviously that she's from Slovenia, and you don't have that many online entrepreneurs, I think, hailing from that area that I'm aware of. I'm sure you know of a lot more. But she's running a very successful social media company called Super Spicy Media, and does a lot of great creative work online. So we're going to be talking about that today. So Mojca, thank you so much for being on the call with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So tell us a little bit about, I guess before we get to maybe Super Spicy Media and how you founded that, take us a little bit into your backstory. I'm curious how you got into this world.
I don't know. I was actually studying media communications. I wanted to be like we were studying about journalism and a little bit about design and everything like that. But I was working as a journalist since I was 15 years old. But when I was studying at college, journalism didn't really sound very appealing. So I tried something different and went to an advertising agency where I worked as a copywriter, but I wasn't very happy there. We didn't work as much in the digital space as I wanted to. So I kind of got fired from that job. And when I got fired, I was like, I don't want to work for other people anymore because I'm smart and I know what clients are looking for because I've been observing that for months and years at their advertising agency. So I actually founded my own called Super Spicy Media, and it actually went from there on. But I was very young. I mean, I still am, of course, but I was 20-something years old. I think I was 21 maybe when I founded my agency.
Wow.
And so I don't have like as broad of a history as I could have had if I was a bit older, but yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about that. I mean, that seems you're starting, and that is like super young. I mean, most people are, getting out of college around that time, maybe. They're looking for jobs, they're job hunting. I don't think most of them are even thinking about the idea of like starting their own company. So tell me a little bit about, being that age and starting something. Like, how was that for you personally? What was that experience like? And then how was that with clients?
It was actually, for me personally, it was very, very fun. I started working like I mentioned before, I started working as a journalist at the age of 15, and I was working for a national newspaper by that time. But it was like I thought I was working like for ages when I was 20. I was like, wow, I know so much. So it was actually very fun for me to create something of my own and create my own company and start working for myself. But for clients, it was a bit harder to explain them like that I'm young and that I know what I'm doing and that I'm smart, because they just thought like, you just got out of college. I actually didn't even finish my college. I don't have a college degree because I dropped out. But they were like, you are so young, you don't know what you're talking about. So it was a bit harder for me to prove my authority and to show them that I know what I'm talking about, that I'm a professional and that I will bring the results they're looking for. But after a couple of clients after I had a couple of clients that were really, really satisfied with my services and with my company and with the results we were getting, everything was much easier from then. But just starting out was a bit harder, but still, I didn't look at it like it was some sort of trouble. It was very fun for me, and I had lots of fun doing it because that was just like I needed to prove myself to people, and that was fun for me. So it was like, I don't know, I don't know. I really, really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed proving myself to people.
Yeah, no, I love that, and I like the underlying, I guess the
I
underlying.
sorry, I lost you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry. It looks like my connection's going in and out. Um,
Hmm.
looks like it's better now. That's Skype. It's entirely unreliable 99% of the time, it seems, but
Yep.
it
Okay.
hasn't broken up, so we should be good. So I can of course cut that out, or maybe we'll just keep it raw. Um, so my question is this, because the underlying thing I noticed there when you're talking is kind of that hustle, and the
Mm.
fact that you're energized about what you're doing, you're excited about what you're doing, and even if you are coming up against what I might call hurdles, which is I think people's preconceived notions that being young, you might not be able to do X, Y, or Z. That you just find a way around that and you use that youth to your advantage. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, those hurdles, I always thought of those hurdles are, they aren't there to stop me. So they're just there to prove myself to other people. And that was something I really like wanted to do. And I had like, you probably know yourself, you probably know that as well, but I had like tons of people telling me, you're not gonna make it. You're so young. You're so naive. I had like a couple of close friends telling me that, but I was like, screw you, I'm going to do my own thing and prove myself to you. And it was so fun for me doing that, just to show them like what I'm capable of. So I didn't like look at that as hurdles. I looked at it as something that I need to just prove myself to people and to myself actually. And I created like this fun process for me. It wasn't like hard. It wasn't hard for me because I was working for myself, and I set my eyes on the prize, and that was it. And I didn't like look the other way. I just knew what I wanted, and I just went and get it.
Well, for you, what was that? What was that prize? You said you put your eyes on the prize. So what was that prize for you?
That prize for me was definitely a successful company and something that kind of brings me money, so I don't need to work for anybody else. And I wanted to grow from like client gigs, so I had a lot of clients when I started out, but my prize always changes, so that's a fact. And currently my prize is to do less of a client work and to do more product. And I'm successfully kind of transforming into a company that does more products than consulting gigs, or the consulting gigs that I do they are cherry-picked clients, but I want to do more of a product, I want to be more on a product side business. So ebooks, I don't know, courses, stuff like that. And that's the price for me right now. So the price constantly changes, but the first price was just, have a successful business. And I didn't want to work for anybody else. So that was like, if I get to the point where I am very successful and I can kind of get myself a nice apartment and get myself a nice car, and that's my own money. I earned it with my own hands, and with my typing, I'm typing in a computer and money comes out. So
Yeah.
that was kind of my price, and I just did it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So now there's a few questions I have, but how is that like working then being from Slovenia, your website is clearly for the English speaking market, and it's really well designed and it reads well.
Thank
So
you.
was that the market that you went for? Or like, did you work at all with Slovenia, how
Slovenian.
Slovenian clients? I was gonna say Slavic, which was not right at all. Slovenian clients?
I did work with Slovenian clients at the beginning, but I always wanted to work with international companies or with companies that aren't based in Slovenia, because I thought, why limit myself to
Yeah.
Slovenia if I have like United States and England and I don't know, Germany, Italy, whatever. So I didn't want to limit myself to my country borders. I just,
Yep.
when I started my webpage, I did it all in English language. And I said, if Slovenian clients are going to come up to me and say, can I work with you? I'm going to say, yes, sure, why not? But the primary goal was to get international companies.
And would you say that the reason for that is also because of what you can charge? I mean, just kind of plain and
Oh,
simple.
definitely, definitely. I'm not going to lie about that, but the price, companies, big companies in Slovenia are not equal to big companies abroad, like United
Right.
States or England. So definitely, the price had a lot of sense when talking about that.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's interesting just from kind of a geo arbitrage type thing. Like when when I traveled around the world, kind of for like basically about 2 years, give or take.
Hmm.
And we were in the States hopping around for a few months at a time, but also just around the world. And in the countries that we're in, it was interesting, how far that if I have U.S. clients, for example, or if I'm getting paid in U.S. dollars and at that, a regular rate, maybe, an okay salary in the United States, it can go, 3, 5, 10 times further in other
Hmm.
countries. And so
Definitely.
it's interesting because I feel like what I've noticed is that I feel like I applaud what you've done here with Super Spicy Media because I think it's really cool, and I'm surprised that more people aren't taking advantage of what you kind of doing what you're doing, and instead, like I feel like what we see instead of people standing out creating like a platform and a brand like you've done, and then you can work for the U.S. or English speaking markets that can pay more. What happens, I feel like, is these countries that are not English speaking then almost become like they tend towards commoditized work, like 99 Designs or Fiverr, for example.
Yep.
And it's like I feel like that's it's like I don't know. I think that's a shame. So like when I see what you're doing, I'm like that's exactly what you should be doing. You take
Yep.
advantage of the fact that the global world is now it's flat and you can compete anywhere. And yet live probably your quality of life could be 2, 3, 4 times higher maybe by living where you're living and working with employees from across the country or across the world, right?
Yep. And I'm not saying it's impossible to find good clients in Slovenia. I'm just saying that it's much easier to find good
Sure.
clients abroad. So I've had a couple of great clients in Slovenia, but the culture is a bit different as well. We are a small country, so you can get across the country in 2 hours. So naturally, clients want me to come to meetings in person, and I don't have time for that to drive to one direction and then sit on that meeting for 2 hours, 3 hours
Hmm.
straight. And I did that, so it's a bit of a culture thing as well. But
Yep.
I did find some good clients in Slovenia, but I find much better clients abroad, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I think it's totally fair. I mean, I think it's totally fair. Yeah, I'm definitely not suggesting that they're bad clients either over there, but just the fact that by positioning yourself the way you've done, you open yourself up to a broader demographic, and I think that's awesome. So
Yeah, and so that was actually my goal from the
yeah,
beginning, and I'm very happy to succeed. So
yeah. So tell me a little bit about what. So let's get into some of these things. Like where do you like? I'm curious. Just give me a brief overview of like what you for your business on a client side capacity you do for your clients, and then I want to talk a little bit about how you're transitioning over to the product world, the productized world.
sure. So what I actually do for my clients is I always say that I take care of their social media so they can focus on running their business, because social media is something like not many clients like to do. It's always like a bit of a struggle. They don't know if they're doing things right. They're not achieving any results, and it's kind of a drag for them. So I take that drag away from them, and I take care of their social media, bring results, so they can focus on other aspects of their business, like growing it, creating more revenue elsewhere, and things like that. So
Yeah, I'm actually one of those people. I don't. I'm just. I'm kind of more of an introvert that way anyway. So I don't actually like social media because it doesn't, in most cases, doesn't provide like much depth. So I'm just like kind of avoid it like the plague. But I also see the necessity of it.
yeah.
So I think that's really important. So that's very very cool, very important what you do. So tell me a little bit about the transition now to products. You have a successful client based business. How do you transition to products?
Well, I was actually thinking about doing an ebook. That was the first thing I wanted to do. So, an ebook was something that was requested many, many times from me, because I have like a couple of fans and a couple of followers that we keep in touch regularly through emails and Twitter and things like that. And they were always requesting an ebook. So, and the ebook they requested was Facebook ads, because they had absolutely no clue how to tackle that problem. So I did that for them, and I wrote an ebook. So that was like my first product, and it was actually very successful. I didn't really expect to sell. I don't even know what the count is currently, but I think in a month and a half I sold for $2,000 worth of books. I'm not completely sure how many that is, but yeah, it was very successful. I didn't expect for the first product to be successful like that, and by that success, I was just totally sure that I need to continue in that direction. And I did have a productized service before I wrote the ebook, and that productized service is called Super Spicy Sessions. So it's actually a one-time payment, one-time engagement kind of thing. So we jump on a 1-hour call, and I kind of do a social media teardown of their social media channels that they're on. And then, we have that one consulting call, and I teach them how to use social media. But that didn't get a lot of attention from the beginning when I did it. But now, for the last couple of months, that has been absolutely crazy. So I currently have like one productized service and one ebook, and I'm actually working on a couple of products now, because I know that it's a good thing, because I don't need to be constantly entangled in the processes, especially because, ebook is just like, I have a web page, I have a landing page for my ebook, and the book sells. And I'm going to be updating it, of course, and I'm going to be sending some emails to the subscribers, just teaching them about Facebook ads again and again. But I don't have to be like constantly in the process of like I am with clients, So an ebook was actually like a logical decision to a more passive income, and it turned out to be a great decision.
That's awesome. And so where are you headed now in that direction, like going forward? More ebooks? What's the deal? Like, how do you plan to kind of grow and scale that?
I will have another ebook on just Facebook, how to run a successful Facebook page. Now that may sound kind of broad. I'm actually working on it right now. But I will do a couple of courses. I will do a couple of webinars, and I'm actually thinking about, like, again, more of a productized offering of a mentoring program. So that's like, I consider that as a product, because I'm not working with a client, and it's a fixed scope, fixed price. So again, these are the kind of things I'm working on, and courses, of course, because that has been like a major suggestion by my audience. So
very cool. And so have you found have there been any struggles for you transitioning from kind of more client-based, more service-based to products?
I don't know. I mean, it is a different kind of process. But I love how I'm working more like on the business instead of in the business. So that's like a major transition. When I still have clients, of course, but when I had more clients, I was constantly working in the business. Like, I was doing social media for them, and I wasn't developing my own business, like growing it or growing my audience or doing products. But now that I'm slowly making that transition, I don't know, it's just fun for me to do this. So it wasn't very hard. The processes are different, but thankfully I have a couple of friends that they're in product business as well, and we're talking a lot, and they just guide me if there are any hurdles. They just guide me towards them. So
yeah, and on that note, what's been, I guess, the best strategy or tactic or to actually get new clients or new customers, like for you, like what is worth the best? I guess maybe social media might be the obvious answer, but I'm curious what you do to kind of fill that pipeline for clients or for now customers of your products.
Well, this is an interesting story, because I actually, the answer to this question. It's social media. So
Right.
when I actually started out, and that's, that were my beginnings when Super Spicy Media was just forming, I was actually working a lot on my Twitter presence and on building my authority through Twitter. And I actually laid a great foundation. And that foundation really helped me with getting new clients and getting customers for my ebook. So Twitter was just a major game changer for me and for my business when I started out, and it still is. So I get a lot of clients from Twitter with just, I'm establishing my authority. I'm helping a lot of people on Twitter, and prospects see that. So they actually contact me saying, we want to work with you. How can you help us? So Twitter, definitely.
Awesome. Interesting. I feel like I'm kind of in the book space, and to a degree, like just the digital product kind of launch space. And every time I do my like look at the stats for launches and stuff like that, and we break down as best we can when we can see the numbers and see what the conversion rate is, I feel like Twitter, from a sales standpoint for products, is always so low, like 1% conversion type thing. But I've never necessarily thought of it in the context of, attracting clients per se. And so in that case, I could see how that could be more powerful. Is that the case for you?
Yeah, I think like for Twitter, as far as my ebook goes, I think it's like on the I think the first kind of the first place for the traffic, is the majority of people came through bought my book from my webpage. They got on. I have a landing page on Gumroad, so I actually linked to that Gumroad page on my webpage, and that was like the number one channel I got the most purchases at. So the second channel was Twitter. So actually my followers on Twitter and other people that kind of stumble upon me through Twitter, they were like they bought a lot of my books. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, cool. And then so what's on the horizon for you now in the next the rest of this year? Any big things, any big projects coming up? I know you're working on some more books. Besides that, what else do you have coming up?
I'm actually working on more books, like you've mentioned, and I am working on a crash course, email course, just a free email course for Facebook ads. So
cool.
you know how that goes, just building a pipeline for my customers. So I'm actually working on that, and I'm very excited to do that. And I'm going to do more webinars. So watch out.
Awesome. Love it. Well, I will say that it was a pleasure talking to you. Where can people reach out to you? What's the best way to connect?
So the best way to find me is on Twitter, naturally. Yeah. So you can find me at Mojca Mars on Twitter, and my webpage is superspicymedia.com, and I actually created a separate landing page for your listeners. So it's they can find me on superspicymedia.com/ITT. So that's in the trenches. And I have a couple of goodies for them, a couple of free resources, and a 50% discount on my book. So
awesome. I'm going to go there right now and get my discount.
Yay!
That's awesome. Very
Filling
cool.
in the pipeline.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Mojca, I appreciate it. It was great talking with you and very insightful. Love what you're doing. And hopefully we can maybe connect in the future and see what you're up to maybe a year or two from now. I think you got some big things on the horizon.
Absolutely. I would love to.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that wraps up another broadcast of In the Trenches. If you'd like to check out the show notes, just head over to tommorkes.com/podcast, where you'll find the latest broadcast. And if you enjoyed today's broadcast, please do me a favor and leave a rating and review on iTunes. That's the fastest, simplest, easiest way to support my creative work, and it would really mean a lot to me. As always, this is Tom Morkes, and if you're listening to this, you are the resistance.